Yo, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another how to build your own fortress video, and this is gonna be the second part. We're gonna be demonstrating yet another idea of how to build a very good fortress that is gonna get you a lot of wins. For me, it gave me at least an 80% win, and I'm actually in the Shonen League where a lot of good players are, so I would assume that this is a very good idea. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen this idea before. I mean, a lot of people in different leagues are using this idea, and it has a lot of variations. Like a lot of people are using it in different kind of way. Like some people are using actually the original idea that we demonstrated in the first video in this one, and they're like getting the same, like getting both elements at the same time, which is like 50% wasting time and 50% trying to kill the enemies. But in my opinion, this fortress or this idea should be mainly about wasting time. So we're gonna be focusing here on the time up elements, and it's 90% of what we're gonna be trying to do here. The 10 other percent is gonna be hoping that the enemy will die from your shinobis that you leave in your fortress. Okay, so before we start this video, I would advise you to go to the first video or the first part and watch the first 2 minutes, because there is important facts that you need to know before you actually have to watch any of these videos to know how things work out here on how to build your fortress in the first place. Okay, so make sure to go to that video, the first part, and watch these 2 minutes before you continue this video. And then you can come back here and watch the rest of the video. You're gonna find that link for that video in the description below. Is gonna be the first link, or maybe you can just skip that for now and wait until the end of the video. You're gonna see a pop-up at the end of the video, and then you can just click on it and watch. Okay, without any further delay, let's start talking about the fortress now. So the first part, where when you start going against the fortress, is full of tornado traps, which are mostly used to separate the enemies. And this time we're separating the enemies not to kill them, not to get them in some room where they have to fight an enemy, a shinobi enemy, and that shinobi would like kill them with the advantage of the installations, like the last time or so. I mean, some people are using this idea here, but I wouldn't advise you to do it, because I tried it and it got me like only 40 to 50% win rate. So I advise you to not do that. So why are we separating the enemies here? So when the enemy bots get into this room or that even that room, they will end up getting stuck here, because no matter where they land, they will not be able to clear the whole room, and that means they're gonna get stuck by the door. And that means the main enemy shinobi or the main player will end up alone in one of the rooms, where he have to clear the whole room alone, which wastes more time than when he actually have his teammates with him to clear the room faster. So this is why we're actually separating them right there. So this is the tornado trap that actually works for that. This is like the main tornado trap, which separates the enemies in different directions. But then we have extra tornado traps right here for every time the enemies get out of one of the rooms. Like the main player getting out of this room, he has a tornado trap for that. Out of this room, he has a tornado trap for that. Out of this room, he has another tornado trap for that. And the tornado traps basically either like throw him in that room he wanted to go in, or throws him back to the room he came back from, which wastes more time. And even that they have the confusion effect on them, which, like, if you are a person that don't, if your enemy is a person that don't work well with the confusion effect on them, that's even more time wasted. Okay, so what is the point of the needle here? The needle is actually not something needed that much here. You can actually replace it with other tornado traps, but I couldn't do that because I used most of my tornado traps at the last room. So yeah, I just decided to put it here in case that it activates. It does like some damage to the enemies, and it actually motivates the enemies that are like, for example, let's say one of the enemies decided to land here and he cleared the whole part and decided to come to help his main character here. He would actually get motivated to destroy this electric needle at the beginning, like before he goes to that room, and then when he does that, he will probably have to go over a tornado trap, which is probably gonna throw them away back to that room or any other room, or get them into the room where he actually wanted to help his main character, but then with a confusion effect that actually doesn't help them attack at all for like 2 seconds. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna be talking about here are the summons. So what is the point of the summons here? You will see that they are there everywhere in the map. I'm not talking about the shinobi summons, by the way. I'll be talking about this later, but we're talking now about the summons, the normal summons, like the mist ninjas or the leaf ninjas or the stone ninjas. You know, these summons that are easy to kill. So what's the point of them? They're not probably doing any damage, and that's actually the point of this fortress. We're not trying to do damage, we're trying to waste time. So how do we waste time with them? So killing them actually wastes time, but how can you actually get more time wasted for the enemy team using them there? So we're gonna start with the leaf ninjas, but these are actually like the middle class, like the ones that I wouldn't actually use a lot of them. And the thing is, every time they have this special attack where they knock back the enemies, and these are very annoying because every time you get knocked back, you waste like 1 second or maybe 2 seconds. I can't remember exactly, but yeah. And all of them have that special attack that they use every like 5 seconds or whatever. So yeah, they're very annoying, but at the end of the day, they stay where they are. And if you have an area of effect and attack in your kit, you'll be able to clear them easily. The second ones we're going to be talking about here are the stone ninjas, and they do a lot of damage. They actually can somehow paralyze you with all the shurikens they keep attacking you with. So if you are the only target they have in their range, you will most likely get all the shurikens on you, and you will not be able to actually move unless you use your ninjutsus to kill them, which is gonna be hard because you have a lot of like I'm using them in these parts of the fortress, like here or maybe here. You can just use a stone ninja right here instead of the mist ninja I have right here. And what they do is that they use a lot of shurikens and they do a lot of damage. They paralyze the enemy unless the enemy uses his ninjutsus to kill them, which again is hard to do when you have a lot of walls covering them or protecting them, and of course it's all the traps right here with the seals that actually are not gonna allow them to use the ninjutsus for a while. So yeah, these are the two ninjas that I want to talk about before we get to the mist ninjas, which are the best at wasting time. And the reason is because they go and run away in different directions. They are actually archers that attack from far away, and when you summon them, they go in different directions. You have no idea, they have no pattern, to be honest, and you have to run after each one of them to kill them. And yeah, sometimes I actually end up in one room where they have a lot of mist ninjas, and I just leave my my teammates, like the bot attackers, to just clear the room. And sometimes I'm just waiting here by the door, and the bot teammates would just come to me, and the door is not unlocked yet. It's mostly because of one of these mist ninjas waiting in one of the corners. Let's say one of the mist ninjas decided to just wait in this corner, and he's not attacking, he's not doing anything. It's actually hard for the bot shinobis to detect him because he's not in their range anymore, and he's just standing there doing nothing, and you're just sitting there by the door waiting for that to get cleared. But they're just actually chilling there, you're chilling here, and that's a lot of time wasted just by chilling and waiting for that enemy to die on his own. So you have to go back and kill that mist ninja that is doing nothing in the corner. So that's why I like mist ninjas. They're wasting time by not doing any damage, just running away in different directions and like confusing the enemy by doing literally nothing and being useless. So yeah, mist ninjas are the best to use in your fortress to waste time. So basically, in open spaces, you want to use mist ninjas as they go in different directions. And what would be even better is using camouflage glasses or crystals that can actually hide them from the main character. It doesn't hide them from the bot attackers, but it hides them from the main character, which mostly kills the enemies faster than the bot attackers or enemies. So yeah, like again in these kind of parts of the fortress, I will assume that the best options will be the stone ninjas, as they do a lot of damage from behind walls. Or like I did here, I tried to give the mist ninjas a way to actually run away from this corner to different parts of the map by adding tornado traps here to get the enemies to get thrown away in different parts of the map, or the part of this fortress, which allows the mist ninjas to get away from this part. And of course there's the camouflage crystal to hide them as they run away, and that just wastes enough time for the enemies to just like clear them in this room, even though they're just all in one corner. Getting this set up actually hides them as they escape from this part, and sometimes they end up like sitting in or standing in this corner. It's very funny because the enemy gets confused because all of the enemies were just here, like all of his enemies were just here in this corner, and somehow they ended up in this corner. So yeah, it's just amazing how this sometimes works. And then again, people just sometimes use the stone ninjas to do damage and waste time at the same time. Now, before we talk about the last parts, or the last three parts right here, I would want to talk about this part here, which can be actually a good element of wasting time. So as you can see here, I'm only using 2 summons in this room. Normally people just use 3 summons, just like any other room, like this room for example. But this room has a good opportunity to waste more time by adding more tornado traps, as like when the enemy just clears this room from these 2 summons, their last location is gonna be here as they clear these ninjas, mist ninjas right here, and then they're gonna try to continue to the next room right here, and by that they're just gonna go over these tornado traps that are most likely going to push them here, here, or here. And this is basically the main point of pushing them in this part, which actually wastes around 10 seconds of their time for them to actually come back here at this point again, which most times they just can go over it, but sometimes they get the tornado trap again and go or come back here, which wastes again 10 seconds of their time, which is really amazing. It worked like around 30% for me so far. You know, the only problem sometimes is that the mist ninjas would run away in this direction and stand here, and that helps them like help the enemy clear the room in this part and just continue through this part of the door, and they don't even go through the tornado trap. So you might as well you can just change the mist ninjas to something else, like leaf ninjas for example, which would be okay. Alright, next up we have the 2 parts of the fortress where we have our 4 shinobis in. And believe it or not, this fortress used to be actually very popular at some points, and it's because like the only reason why it's not used anymore is because of the fact that people sometimes, or like any enemy, can easily just get into these rooms and kill 2 shinobis with only 1 ultimate at the same time. So that was not practical at some point. So how can you actually use this fortress without having this problem of both shinobis dying at the same time from 1 ultimate? And the answer is very easy. You just need iframes. So what we have here is Tobirama with his flying region that has the iframe at the very beginning of this part, where is the like sometimes enemies, as soon as they see this shinobi summon right here, they just come by the door here and teleport over it, and they just use their ultimates, and they think they instantly will kill that shinobi that will get summoned exactly on their ultimate range. The thing is, it's gonna be Tobirama, and Tobirama has the flying region, which is the first thing he always uses, and that's just gonna get him out of the range of the ultimate. And even if it doesn't, the iframe of that flying region attack just saves him from that ultimate. Let's say that the enemy just decided not to kill Tobirama at the beginning and decided to go over him and through this part to find the second character in case there is any, and to use his ultimate against both of them at the same time. So we have here Sakura, and she's not good with iframes, to be honest. I only have her here as some kind of way to actually do damage to the enemy with her defense down attack, her ultimate that can kill the enemy, and of course the healing jutsu that can heal Tobirama as well as her, which is a very speedy healing jutsu, by the way. So yeah, she's there just for support, and she's a support character, by the way. She's like the closest thing to a defense character, which has a lot of HP and has a lot of defense, which makes her survive from huge or powerful attacks like shurikens or whatever. So basically what you want to use here is iframes attack that can save these characters from ultimates, and you're gonna see in the clips at the end of the video how sometimes Tobirama just saves himself from ultimates because of his flying rage and iframe attack, and Sakura sometimes just dies there because of that, the fact that she doesn't have an iframe. So I have here some Mirage Aroma installations that will post both defense and attack of these characters right here, and of course with Sakura's defense down or defense debuff attack, it would make it much easier to kill the enemies using normal attacks or regular attacks or other jutsus from Tobirama. So yeah, by the way, the main thing that the bots will try to do here is to destroy the installations, and that's why I have one tornado trap next to this first installation, which will get the enemies to actually get blown away in different directions of the map, which actually helps as well with the fact that the two shinobis here will be separated because they're gonna attack different bots or different teammates in different directions, which doesn't help the main attacker to actually use his ultimate on both of them at the same time, unless of course it's something like Bane that can like clear the whole map in just one go. So we're talking about some attackers that like Itachi, or I don't know, attackers with Sarutobi, for example, with small range in their ultimates. So yeah, this is the first part, and it's pretty simple. There's nothing different, like nothing special here. We have a camouflage crystal here to help Tobirama escape from the attacks at the beginning, because if he uses flying region, the enemy will just go over against them and use his attack against them. So having the crystal camouflage saves them from some attacks because of the fact that he's not visible to the main attacker right there. The second part is I would like to just add here a good character that does a lot of damage like Sarada, and then a defender that can actually help Sarada stay alive for a while using his water prison, or maybe his 4-star attack. I can't remember what it was, the other one that has a huge range to knock back the enemies, which helps Sarada attack these enemies as they are knocked back or down. And that's why we have also some Mirage Aroma installations to boost the attack of Sarada, which is already crazy because of the 4 kunais that I have on her and the 14,000 attack that I have on her. So one of her shurikens should kill any enemy in the game easily. So there you go. We have also some tornado traps that can actually like throw the enemies in different directions. Helps with the fact that the enemies will not like focusing on one of the characters, and they're like gonna get thrown away with the confusion effect, which holds them from attacking these shinobis for a while. So the whole point of having two parts with two each of them having two shinobis at the same time is that the enemy will most likely use, like 100% is going to use his ultimate in this part to kill both enemies at the same time, both shinobis at the same time, and then 90% of the time the enemy just stays there waiting for his ultimate to come back, which is most of the time 50 seconds or 55 seconds for their ultimate to come back to them to use in this room. So that's 55 seconds wasted. That's a guaranteed win, by the way. If you have seen the character or the enemy doing that, you know for sure that you won. If you lose, it's because of other problem in your fortress. But I guess this is like a guaranteed win if the enemy decides to just wait here and not do anything for 55 seconds, just waiting for us ultimate. That's a huge waste right there. The easy way to actually like save yourself from this problem is to go back and clear some other rooms, and by the time your ultimate the cooldown gets back to 0, you can just come back here and clear this this room. This is basically the secret of this fortress. People just waste a lot of time, like 55 seconds, waiting here for their ultimate, which is a terrible idea in my opinion. So yeah, if you want to clear this fortress, if you ever go against this fortress, never do that. Never wait for your ultimate in this point, and go and clear some other rooms before you get your ultimate back and come clear this room. This last thing we're going to talk about here is something that can also help you clear this fortress, which is this part. So this part is mainly to waste more time, and it's actually the main part where people waste time in this fortress. So what happens here is we have the tornado traps, which can throw you in 3 different directions. This one is the one with the least preference. You don't want the characters to be thrown away in this part, because it means they can just come back in like 2 seconds back here. The ones you want, like the directions you want your enemies to get thrown to, is either this one or that one. So that one wastes around 10 seconds of their time. This one wastes 20 seconds of their time. So you can use this for your advantage, because if you like for example clear this room and you don't have an ultimate, you don't have to waste your time waiting for ultimate here to go in there. You can just go and clear the whole map or the whole fortress, and then try your luck here, going over the tornado traps, which most likely will push you into this room at some point, and then you can use your ultimate to clear the 2 characters here. But if you wait for your ultimate, which is again most likely what people do, and clear this room, and then you like go back and clear the other rooms and get here, and then you get the tornado traps, which is gonna throw you here, and yeah, you're just gonna waste 20 seconds doing literally nothing. Only what you're gonna do is run for your life or for your win, and that's 20 seconds wasted until you get back here, which means which is actually a bad thing, because you still have more tornado traps right here waiting for you. So I just want to talk about the tornado traps here, and how the positioning here is very important. So we have the first trick right here, which is actually used against teleport users like Itachi, Tobirama, and other teleport jutsus users. So we are going to be talking about here Itachi mainly, or Tobirama. Anyway, teleport jutsu users. So what is the point of the wall here? Because everyone knows or should know that teleports doesn't activate tornado traps that you go over them. So for example, if Itachi is sitting or standing right here and he uses teleport, he would stop right behind this wall over the tornado trap, which is not gonna get activated, okay? But yeah, if the Itachi has a teammate following them, that teammate is gonna be used against them, and that teammate is actually going to activate the tornado trap, trying to attack this wall, which will blow that teammate and also Itachi at the same time to different rooms. So we're basically using the teammates of the enemy team against them. So I hope you get this idea. We're going to be using it again here for the second time. Again, a teleport user will go over the tornado trap, will hit the wall, they can just destroy the wall without activating the tornado trap. But then if they have a teammate following them, a bot teammate, that bot teammate is gonna activate the tornado trap, and then both of them will get blown away in different directions, which is the main reason why we have the positioning of these tornado traps like that. Then we have one more tornado trap right here and one more tornado trap right here. For teleport users, it's easy to actually go over them. They're mainly just for bots to make sure they don't easily get to the last room to help their main attacker or main character clear the last room. So we want the main attacker in the last room for as much long time as possible alone, basically. Alright, so the last thing we're going to be talking about here is the last room of the fortress, which is the most important part of the fortress, where you need to waste at least 55 seconds. You need to guarantee that you're going to be able to waste 55 seconds in this room. Therefore, you're going to have to fill it with iframers, and by iframers I mean characters that have attacks or skills that can actually save them from ultimates using iframe attacks. Like, for example, Itachi with his Susanoo protection, Minato with his teleport, or his other attack that he teleports in 3 different directions. Okay, I forgot her name. God damn it. Temari, yeah. Temari with her Ghost Dance, or Conan with the similar attack to Ghost Dance. It has even longer animation, so it's good as well. However, I would use Temari over Conan here. You can also use Hinata with her Chakra Wall. Neji is the same thing. Yeah, but I would use, if I have to choose between Hinata and Neji, by the way, I would use Hinata because she's a support character. She has more defense, and her Chakra Wall is actually better than Neji's because it has longer animation, I would say. And yeah, I feel like she uses it in like much better timing than Neji. So yeah, I would rather use Hinata over Neji here. You can use other iframer attacks, like Hokage Naruto, for example. His Rasengan has the iframe. Yeah, you can basically use them all here. And then there's Gaara. I'm not gonna be talking a lot about Gaara because I've already made a video yesterday about him. You can watch that video. You can find the link in the description below. You can see how great he is in the last part of the fortress. So he doesn't have an iframe attack, however he has something near to that. Like, he has other features that are similar to iframes, like the shell that he has on him. Again, just a quick facts here, he can sustain damage up to 34,000 damage on his shell. Otherwise, if the damage is more than that, he's gonna die. But then he can he has the resistance and defense that can actually save him from ultimates, like annihilation type ultimates. And then he has his ultimate that he can use anytime he wants, and he doesn't have to wait until he gets under the 40% HP to actually use it. So he can actually give more defense and more resistance to the attackers in the last room, which can save them for much longer time than they normally would without a Gaara in that room. So again, just fill this room with how many iframers you can. A lot of iframers, and you can actually use iframers here as well. Like, as I mentioned before, Togirama is a great iframer. That's why I'm using him here. To be honest, if I have Hokage Naruto's ultimate, I would have used them here instead of Kezami. He has a great cat that knocks back the attacks, knock back the enemies, and he would be great to help Sarada here. As well as the fact that he has the Rasengan that has the iframe that saves him sometimes from ultimates. So yeah, there you go. There's a lot of good possibilities to use here in the last room and these rooms where you bought your 2 Shinobis. So yeah, this is how the fortress looks like. It's really amazing. Again, it got me around 80% win rate. Sometimes I actually get like 10 wins in a row, and sometimes people just enter the fortress right after, like once after once, and they just keep failing. It's kind of weird, to be honest, because I would have assumed like people would get used to it by now. But yeah, especially in the Shonen League where everyone is using the same idea, the idea that I mentioned in the first video, this one is quite different and it could be kind of confusing. And again, it works for every league, no matter where you are. It's again about wasting time. You don't need good shinobis to waste time, unless of course you don't have good iframers, which would put you in a disadvantage. But then most of the iframe attacks are just regular attacks that you can get from rare cards, not ultimates, not very rare cards, just rare cards, and everyone can get these from summon tickets or like random summons. So yeah, there you go. This is, to be honest, so far my favorite fortress. Even I love it more than the last one I had in the first video. So yeah, you're gonna watch right now a couple of clips of how Babel failed with different main characters, and at the end you're gonna see one player who is able to finish it easily without any problems, and you can learn from him how to go through this fortress easily without any problems in case you ever encounter one. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the video, guys. This is the second part. The third part is probably going to be coming in 2 or 3 more weeks. I have to test another, like I will have to work on another fortress and then test everything, change, like keep customizing, optimizing it until it gets perfect, and then I can just make the third part about a different fortress. So yeah, there you go. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.
無限の幻惑が落ちる。強化級の術。遅いわ。遅い暗い。
どこからでもどうぞ。どこからでも任せてください。行きます。任せてください。